Welcome into a hump day edition of First Take. Thank you so much for hanging with us. The whole crew is in the house. Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith.
Told y'all I'd be back. What's up, big boy?
How are you?
How are you doing?
Morning, guys.
Hey,
how are we doing? I'm good.
All right.
Mike Greenberg just walked by and told me to tell you that he softened you up on Mike and Mike for me. Is that true?
I don't believe it.
Like body blows, little rabbit punches to the...
You know, I wouldn't say that. You know, they try to because I think you quietly got fans around that be trying to look out for you because they tired of the beat downs you usually get.
Oh.
You know, but I don't let it. I give them the impression that they may have softened me up, but it never works.
Okay. Yeah,
like the box square, too. You're listening to it, brother. I'm so impressed.
I'm listening to a sister. I'm listening to a sister, not a brother.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Fair enough. All right, okay.
Let's work.
All right, let's go.
Talk about Skip's Cowboys and how they always find a way to stay relevant. And in case you missed it, I must admit this was pretty good. Tony Romo tweeting a clip from Major League. Guess there's only one thing left to do. Win the whole effing thing. Skip, scale of 1 to 10. How much did you like this tweet?
Wait, well, you didn't really give the whole thing, right?
Okay.
Well,
there's more? There's more you want to give?
Well, I'll get to it in just a second. So let's get back to your question. Scale of 1 to 10. Let me think. Scale of 1 to 10. I love this. A 20. How about a 20, Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah.
I loved this. This was the highlight of my day yesterday, and I even got to see you in the afternoon as we did a photo shoot together with Molly.
Yes.
And yet this was the highlight of my day because this was audacious. This was gutsy. This sent a powerful message to a football team in dire need of a powerful message from its leader. As Tom Berenger said in the iconic movie Major League, which is the classic worst to first movie, right? Tom Berenger in the clubhouse looks at his teammates and says, there's only one thing left to do. Win the whole bleeping thing. Okay, so we can't see that because we can't show it, and it would be more powerful. And if you saw the tweet from Romo, you can see the clip. And I want to explain to you, Mr. Smith, some quarterbacks, maybe most franchise quarterbacks, would be a little leery of returning from injury to a team that has lost 7 straight games. And most quarterbacks would think, now, wait a second. They're expecting me to be the savior of this mess, not Tony Romo. Remember what he did after the Patriots loss at Jerry World this year when he was injured, obviously? Remember when he marched right up to Tom Brady after the game? Popped him on the shoulder pads.
I have no recollection.
Remember that one? And he said, see you in February.
I have no recollection of that because I think that Tony Romo was on the sidelines. He wasn't playing, which makes him irrelevant. But that's just me. Okay. But go ahead.
When he did that to Tom Brady, I thought, the audacity, to quote Stephen A. Smith, the temerity, the unmitigated gall. And I love that one because Tony Romo believes that this division is shockingly winnable. So now he tweets out this link to Major League, and he is embracing, he is owning the pressure to be the savior of this team in this division. Even from a last place 2 and 7, I'm sure Tony Romo sits back and says, Mark Sanchez is now the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm sure Tony Romo is thinking, Kirk Cousins hasn't yet won an away game this year, a road game. And he might even be thinking, Eli Manning has led this league in interceptions 3 different times in the last 3 years in a row. Eli's team has not made the playoffs. Am I right about that?
You're right.
Miss Connecticut, Miss Giants fan?
You're right.
Right? Okay. So Tony Romo sits back and says, this is doable. I've been telling you both. From day one, I've had this feeling about this team. It is eminently doable. It obviously has to start in Miami this Sunday. The odds makers say this is an even Steven game. This is a picket game. Cowboys at Dolphins. I will be the first to sit right here in this chair on Monday morning if they blow this game with Tony Romo at quarterback and say, I was wrong. You got me. But I think I'm going to be right at least about this Sunday, and then we'll see what happens from week to week because I got Tony Romo back, and nobody else does.
Well, it's very, very touching that you feel this way. Quite hilarious, I might add. The fact of the matter is the Dallas Cowboys haven't won a game since September 20th. It will have been 2 months since they've won a game, assuming they win this weekend in Miami, which is no gimme. We also have to combine, you know, those things by saying, you know, it's really, really interesting. and quite pathetic that the Dallas Cowboys find themselves in this situation. 7 games without Tony Romo, and you couldn't manage to win 1 game. There's so many flaws with this organization from Jerry Jones on down, and it's basically been exposed. I love how you sit up here and you love this tweet. Guess what? And you think it's such a big deal. If you're Tony Romo, why shouldn't you be confident? You're playing with house money. You know why?
Oh, really?
Because they haven't won a game without you. The greatest thing, let me tell you the only bad thing about these Dallas Cowboys having lost 7 straight. That Tony Romo's contract negotiation should have been now instead of him re-upping over a year ago.
He got his money. He's okay.
We know he's all right. 108 million, 55 million guaranteed. But here's the deal. What I laugh about is the fact that if Tony Romo were negotiating his deal right now, Jerry Jones might have had to give him about $150 million. Why? Because they are 0 without him, winless without him. It doesn't matter that you have Darren McFadden. It doesn't matter that you have Des Bryant. It doesn't matter that you have that massive offensive line. It doesn't matter that you went out and got Greg Hardy, that Rolando McClain came back, okay? You know, it doesn't, none of that matters. Even Sean Lee came back, was injured before he got concussed. You got all of that stuff going on. Here's the reality. If you're Tony Romo, there's absolutely no pressure, because guess what? They were winless without you. Anywhere you go is up. Certainly, he's not going to win every game in my estimation, but even if he went, Skip, even if he ended up going 4-3 over the final 7 games, it's still better than 0-7. So the fact is that he has nowhere to go but up, because he's playing with house money, which, by the way, let me say for the record, I find to be utterly disgusting, because the fact of the matter is Tony Romo's career playoff record is 2-4. Tony Romo has never even played in an NFC Championship game. Damn near, certainly has not taken anybody to a Super Bowl. But we talk about him like he's the second coming. The second coming of what? Captain of mediocrity? That's what we need to call him, because that's what the Dallas Cowboys have been. And it's chickens coming home to roost. You let go of DeMarco Murray after running him into the ground. You thought you could bring anybody back to sit up there and run the football. But Skip Bayless, you were thinking about yardage. You were thinking about talent. You were thinking about effectiveness. What you weren't thinking about is workload. Who could you give the ball to 392 times? Who could you allow to have 449 touches? Who could you allow to spell and relieve Tony Romo and safeguard him by taking the workload off of his shoulders? You had nobody to do that, which is why he probably got hurt in the second game against Hicks to begin with. In the end, what it comes down to is very, very simple. The Dallas Cowboys aren't going to the playoffs this year. The Dallas Cowboys are pretty much finished. The Dallas Cowboys
going out on a limb at 2-7.
Well, I'm not going out on a limb. That's my whole point. I'm just trying to reel you back into reality, because you're trying to find an excuse to cheer and praise and be hopeful. There is no hope. Let me be the first person to break your heart. Let me be the first person to ruin your season. Your Dallas Cowboys are going down. They're already down, actually. It's just not official yet. It's over. So you go ahead and you pray for little Tony Romo, okay? And have him sit up there and remind us of lines from the Major Leagues, the movie, okay?
League.
Major
Singular.
League. You're right, because I was thinking, I just say Major Leagues, but I like the one with Tom Hanks as opposed to the second one for me personally.
You did?
Yes, I did. There's no crying in baseball. Just like
now
there's
you're
no
going
crying
to the
in
other one.
football.
Okay.
That's the league of their own. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is, in the end, what it comes down to, Skip, is this. Your guy is absolutely, positively important to the Cowboys. But the Cowboys are not important to the rest of us. They're irrelevant. We'll watch them. They'll probably beat Miami, then go lose to Carolina for all we know. It'll be something along those lines, but it's pretty much a done deal.
So my excuses, as I correctly pointed out to you, are not about my Cowboys. They're about Kirk Cousins and Mark Sanchez and maybe even your guy Eli. Those are my excuses.
Yeah, but you still have to play the Jets, Buffalo, and Carolina.
That's fine. This is all by default, because even you admitted to me, if Romo and Dez had been healthy all the way through, this team would be leading the NFC East, right?
I totally agree.
Okay, so that's what Tony Romo thinks. Tony Romo, by far, led this league in QBR last year. By far, he like lapped the field in QBR last year. So you have to accept that he's having the guts to basically make a prediction. We got one thing left to do here. We're going to go win the whole effing thing.
I did like the tweet.
Really? That's pretty strong.
Listen. I'm trying to figure out what year has that not been the cause. I mean, isn't that the cause every year? Isn't that a tweet that you could... How come he didn't send that out before week 1? How come he didn't send it out last year when there were expectations? Why does he pick now? Because he's got the security blanket.
They're in last place.
But that's what
so
I'm
he's
saying.
doing Major League.
What I'm saying to you is he's doing it now. This isn't the first time they've been in last place in the Tony Romo era. Okay, so let's be clear about that.
He hasn't done this before.
But this is the first time he's done this.
He hasn't popped Tom Brady on the pads and said, "I'll see you in February."
Feeling it, just like Skip.
He hasn't been in a situation where they were 0-7 without him. He's playing with house money because they stunk up the joint. The NFL specifically without him, blowing leads in 5 different games. They stunk up the joint. So you have nothing to lose. And that's what's going on here. So just accept it. Listen, this is what this subject's about here. Don't fool the American public. This is what this subject's about. You're depressed. And what you're doing, yeah, you are. Yes, you are. You're trying to.
I'm excited.
You're looking for an excuse to be excited.
I don't need
You got one little thread of hope holding on to. You're literally holding on, by a thread. This is where you are, and you're trying to prevent yourself from falling into that abyss.
Seed.
That's what it is. Skip Bayless, I will not help you this time. Okay. I'm going to help you with the truth. I will not pull you up from the abyss, Skip. I'm going to let you plummet. I'm going to let you fall. It's over.
Everybody in the division is holding on by a thread. So are my Cowboys, but so are your Giants, and so are those Eagles, and so are those Redskins.
Those Giants are
by a thread.
It's a fair what, Miss Connecticut?
It is fair.
It's fair.
It's very
we
fair.
don't know how the division's
5 losses.
gonna end up. I don't think the Cowboys, but I'm just saying.
All I'm saying to you is this.
Any team really has a shot
if
at this point.
the Giants have how many games left? 6. The Giants could go 2-4. I mean, not 2-4, but they can go, what is it, 3-3? They could go 3-3. You can win that division with an 8-8 record. That would still require the Cowboys to win 6 or 7 games. I'm telling you, they ain't winning 6 or 7 games.
How do you know that?
Because they're the Cowboys.
They're the Cowboys.
They're the Cowboys. They'll find a way to mess it up. I keep trying to tell you that. I keep trying to tell you, I said something will happen. That's all I ever say to you. I never say specifically what, because we don't know. Dallas is Hollywood, man. They invent new ways to lose. They invent new ways to struggle. As long as they keep in the headlines, they don't lose that intensity. Like Michael Irvin said, please keep the intensity. Don't lose the intensity. Please keep the intensity. That's what the Dallas Cowboys do. They always get the headlines. But what they don't do is get results. This is who they are.
Here's who this team is.
When are you going to accept it?
7 straight losses, and in 6 of the games, they were right there to win the game at the end of the game. Am I right about that? They should have won, could have won 6 out of the 7.
Sure.
Not the Brady game at home. Okay?
Sure.
All right. So Tony Romo's looking at, I got a good football team here. If I can get Dez cranked back up, maybe restore his confidence because I'm back.
Right.
I'm throwing him the football now. All of a sudden, the Cowboys might morph right back into the Cowboys that we all thought had a real shot at getting to the Super Bowl, not just winning the division.
Right. I will openly confess to you, I would be very miserable if the Cowboys came back from this. But that's only because I don't see it happening. I mean, please, listen, man, just accept it. And listen, if they had to play within the division and all their remaining games within the NFC East, I'd give you a legit shot. But when I think about those games outside the divisions, against Green Bay, against Carolina, against the Jets, against the Buffalo Bills, against Miami, I'm thinking at least 3 of those 5 games are in all probability a loss.
I don't love any of those teams you just mentioned. I don't love any of them.
Well, I understand that, and I don't love the Cowboys.
Okay.
So we're even.
I need to be clear on one thing, though. So if they lose to Miami, then it's officially over?
That's it.
Over.
Okay.
Well,
they'll probably beat Miami this weekend now.
Oh, probably. You're scared.
No.
Sunday
I think
at 1.
Carolina. They'll lose to Carolina.
I'll be paying attention to that more intensely.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with this. According to Elias, no team has ever made the postseason after being 2-7 or worse through 9 games. Backs against the wall.
History is about to be made by Tony Romo.
Dallas Cowboys will make history.
I guess there's only one thing left to do.
Speaking